Morning students. So we will be starting with children with various disorders and diseases, and this is chapter 6. So in that the first system that we will be seeing is renal system. So whichever portions I am covering here, I will not cover it in the medical surgical. Okay, so next we will get into the definition. So what is nephrotic syndrome? So nephrotic syndrome is a group of 4 symptoms manifested by edema, hypoalbuminemia, proteinuria and hyperlipidemia. So when we say nephrotic syndrome, actually we see that there are 4 conditions characterized, and it is very important topic in terms of pediatrics. Expected question. Okay, so 4 conditions what you can see is edema will be there, hypoalbuminemia. So edema you know fluid collection. And when we talk about hypoalbuminemia, you know what is hypoalbuminemia. So albumin, protein, less of protein in the blood. Then you have proteinuria. So urea in the urine, protein will be lost. And then hyperlipidemia. So it is increased cholesterol in blood. So these 4 conditions will be exhibited in case of nephrotic syndrome. Okay. So next we will see what are the causes of nephrotic syndrome. So it is given there, idiopathic. So we don't know what is the exact cause. Congenital anomalies of kidneys. Secondary to chronic glomerulonephritis. Okay, so in case if the child is affected with glomerulonephritis, then the child is also prone to develop the disease nephrotic syndrome. Diabetes mellitus, malaria, hypertension, infective endocarditis, HIV, drug toxicity, syphilis, etc. So clinical manifestation, again edema. So edema, we know that there will be weight gain, dark and frothy urine will be there, decreased urine output, poor appetite, the child will not have hunger, okay, irritability, vomiting, diarrhea, skin breakdown, recurrent infections, hypertension, wasting of muscles. So these are all the various clinical manifestations that the child will exhibit. So talking about the diagnosis. So what are the diagnoses? So usually we know that history collection and physical examination we have to do, and then urine examination has to be done. So where we will be checking the protein in the urine. So it will be about +2. It will be greater than the normal person who is not having the proteinuria. So usually when you check these children, they will have extra loss of protein, increased specific gravity will be there, caste and RBC. Okay, so all this will be still found in the urine. And then blood examination, when we do total protein, when you see in the blood, we know that hypoalbuminemia. So here albumin level in the blood is decreased. So we see that the total protein is reduced in the blood. Albumin, when you say it will be greater than 2 gram per dl only, then cholesterol level will be more because the child will be exhibiting hypercholesterolemia. Okay, increased cholesterol level in the blood. So you will see it will be more than 200 mg per dl. Then renal biopsy has to be done, response to steroids. So talking about management, we have to give them steroid therapy has to be given, prednisolone, and then antibiotics, diuretics, calcium supplement, albumin infusion. Because low of albumin, we have to give albumin infusion. Diuretics, why we should give? Because the child is having edema, so loss of water. To induce that, diuretics, antibiotic to keep from any systemic infection. Okay, and then we have to give calcium supplement, okay, which is required for the baby. Then immunosuppressive drugs like cyclophosphamide, chlorambucil has to be given to the child. So these are all the various management. What are the nursing management? You have to maintain accurate intake and output record, measure daily weight, monitor abdominal girth, monitor daily urine, protein, monitor vital signs, administer fluid as ordered, administer diuretics as ordered, provide well balanced high protein diet, low salt diet during edematous phase, change positions frequently, then relieve pressure from pressure points, because edema also will be there. We have to take care. As a child is on bed rest, we should take care that the child does not develop any edema. Relieve pressure from pressure points, elevate head to reduce facial edema, prevent infection, administer antibiotics to treat infection, provide emotional support to child and parents, educate parents about home care during drugs, diet and fluid intake. Okay, then talking about, so these are all the nursing interventions that we have to do for the baby. Maintain intake and output chart, weigh the child daily. Okay, so these are also very important, that is included. Then when we talk about complication, the child can end up having renal failure, peritonitis, okay, inflammation of the peritoneum, then infection, pneumonia. It will also affect the lungs of the baby. So these are all the complications of nephrotic syndrome. Okay, so it is mainly characterized by 4 symptoms. Okay, so that you should not forget. Then you should know the causes, clinical manifestation, what are the diagnostic method, management. Mainly they give steroids, antibiotics, diuretics, calcium supplement, albumin supplement through infusion, and then we give immunosuppressive drugs to the patient. Okay, and then we have seen the nursing management and the complications. Next we will go to glomerular nephritis. So talking about glomerular nephritis, again we will see what is the definition. So when we talk about glomerular nephritis, this is an inflammation of the glomerular capillaries. Okay, so there you can see the structure of the kidney, which you have already studied in anatomy in first year. Okay, then acute glomerular nephritis is primarily a disease of children. So most commonly you will find it among the children. Okay, so glomerular nephritis, it is inflammation of the glomerular capillaries. Okay, so here they have just given you pathophysiology, which is not required, just we will go through what they have given. In most cases of acute glomerular nephritis, there is a history of group A beta hemolytic streptococcal infection. So usually it is affected by group A beta hemolytic streptococcal infection. In some patients, antigens outside the body initiate the process, resulting in the complexes being deposited in the glomerula. In very certain diseases where patients, antigen outside the body initiate the process, resulting the complexes being deposited. So these antigens get deposited in the glomeruli, leading to infection. Otherwise it is always caused by group A beta hemolytic streptococcal, okay, cocci. Okay, now talking about clinical manifestation. The primary presenting features of acute glomerular nephritis is hematuria, which may be microscopic and gross. So what are the various clinical manifestation or the signs and symptoms that is noted here is urine appear cola colored. Okay, so it will be like brown in color. Bun urea nitrogen and serum may rise in the urine output chart. Okay, so bun value increases, then edema and hypertension is noted. In more several disease, headache, malaise and flank pain, weight gain, anorexia and vomiting. So malaise is general body pain. Flank pain is near the groin side when they have the pain. Then weight gain will be there. Anorexia, right? Lack of appetite, and then vomiting will be there. So these are the various clinical manifestation that the child will have. Next, talking about assessment and diagnostic findings. So first you have to do the history collection and physical examination. Then electron microscope can be used to detect. Medical management has to be provided. We can also check if the child was previously affected with the disease. Then if streptococcal infection is suspected, penicillin will be the drug of choice. So here they have given, so diagnostic evaluation as well as the management. Okay, so medical management is a separate heading. Okay, so only history collection, physical examination and electron microscope is used to detect. Then medical management, under that you have streptococcal infection is suspected, and also find out, as I told you, if the child was already infected with any kind of disease, or since it is a childhood disease, since when the child has been affected, if so what was the drug of choice that was given. So usually penicillin only will be given. If the child is affected with streptococcal infection, then antibiotic treatment, dietary pattern in relation to blood urea nitrogen. So based on that, the nutrition has to be provided. Then we will see the therapeutic management. So when we say therapeutic management consists of general supportive measures and early recognition and treatment of complications. So we have to early find out what is the root cause, and that has to be treated for the patient. And then children who have blood pressure and satisfactory urine output can generally be treated at home. So if the child's blood pressure is maintained normally and if the urine output is normal, so how do we know the urine output is normal? We get to know that when the child has, if the child is 15 kg, then half of it, 7.5, right? So per hour the child should have passed 7.5 ml. So if the child is passing for after 5 hours, then we have to record how much ml based on the weight. So if the child is passing adequately, then the child might not require hospitalization, but the child can be at home and the necessary treatment can be taken. Those with substantial edema, hypertension, gross hematuria or significant oliguria should be hospitalized. So in case if the child has edema, if the child has got hypertension, or if the child has got blood in the urine, significant oliguria, less than 500 ml in a day, or no anuria, no urine at all, should be hospitalized because of unpredictability of complication. So all this also indicates that the child is in complication. Dietary restriction depends on the stage and severity of the disease, especially the extent of edema. Then we see moderate sodium restriction and even fluid restriction may be insisted for children with hypertension and edema. So moderately, when you see sodium restriction should be done for the child, even fluid restriction may be insisted for children with hypertension and edema. So maintaining intake and output chart is very, very important. Then foods with substantial amounts of potassium are generally restricted during period of oliguria. If the child is exhibiting the symptom of oliguria, then it is important that we restrict the potassium, okay, for the child. Then regular measurement of vital signs has to be done. Body weight and intake and output chart is necessary to monitor the progress of disease and to detect complications that may appear at any time during the course of the disease. A record of daily weight is the most useful means for assessing fluid balance. That is, intake and output chart, daily ideal weight has to be checked. Vital signs has to be checked. Okay, so what are the nursing management? Intake and output chart, check signs and symptoms. Psychological support has to be provided, provide hygienic measures, daily record weight, and then provide bed rest. So these are all the nursing management that is carried out for the child affected with glomerular nephritis.